Are you an overthinker? You have ideas, but a lot of them are caught in this pre-finished stage because you can't decide how you want to finish it or just how you want it to play out. You might have trouble figuring out what you want to do, and you come up with a ton of possible outcomes and just worries before you even start doing it. You're afraid of making a mistake, of making a wrong choice, and you're to the point where you're just tying your own hands. Sometimes you get so tangled up in your own second thoughts that you don't even stop to wonder if maybe you're just overcomplicating something that doesn't have to be so complicated. Or if you take a step back, you realize that what you thought was so important wasn't actually that important. So let's say you get a hang of yourself slightly and you actually just continue doing or putting into action your idea. And when you don't feel as motivated at that exact moment or things aren't going as planned, you start to judge yourself and you just blame yourself for not being as inspired as you were before, or that it's because of you that things aren't turning out the way they are, and you end up eventually feeling like you're losing control. You start to lose your spark, and things aren't as awesome as they were before, or as you imagine them being. And most of all, you feel tired. Just tired of everything. Tired of yourself for not just being enough and not living up to your own expectations. And all of this is because you overthought everything before your idea even came to fruition. You've already lined up a whole list of things you have to do, and you stopped enjoying the process because you became stressed, and you just feel overwhelmed. Things aren't fun anymore. I found that I've been struggling with this overthinking for some time, and I was even overthinking what I would put in the voiceover of this video, and I didn't touch it for a long time. Sometimes though, you have to take a step back, and when you do that, I guess it gives you that perspective, and you realize, wait, what was I stressing out so much about? Is it really that important? Will it matter to me in a year, in 2 years, in a week, in 10 years? Like, it won't matter. It's like, it's so small that, my grandfather passed away recently, and I started to think of the value we put on these small things and small problems, and our everyday problems. But in the whole scope of things, when you look at things, I guess, a lifespan, what really matters? What is it that makes that is important? What is important? So 2 days ago, my mom invited everyone over to celebrate my grandmother's birthday. So at first, that was like a very last minute invitation, and it was kind of, I was pretty skeptical at first because I kind of set aside that day to kind of like catch up on all the work I have to do and like give myself that final push and stuff. And so I was skeptical, and I'm like, Mom, like I'm kind of busy, like, are you sure? And in the end she's like, no, it's gonna be fine, yeah, it's last minute, but like it'll be great, you know, like let your work like sit for another day, it's all right, and whatever. And so that is what I did, and I don't regret it. And it was beautiful, you know what I mean? And I walked away after it was over, and I'm like, you know what? Thank goodness I didn't do my work. I'm so grateful for everything I have, right? And you know, that the work, it won't matter. It will always be there. It'll just keep piling up, you know? Like, that isn't gonna change. But what will change is those memories. You can't, you know, time passes and things don't last forever. So seize them while you can seize them. When you have an opportunity, seize them with both hands, you know? This is so cute. I don't know, I'm going crazy now. Isn't this so cute? It's a free book thing, and I was just walking with my cousin and my sister, and I found this, and apparently you can take free books and bring them back. Cool. We need more of these, guys. More of these. I'm officially bankrupt. We are already running on 2.5 hours of playing this game, yeah? No, not 2, like 4 hours. We've been playing for a while. See, I'm bankrupt, got my trusty chips. This is an ordinary chair.
I bumped my knee into it.
And what has happened to the bottom? Wait, where did it... Has it ever happened to you that you have this moment of inspiration after being burnt out for so long, but then you're like, oh, you know, I'll do it. Like, you kind of push it off because you're busy, and I'm doing air quotes here, and you're just coming up, I guess, with excuses and stuff, and saying, you know, not now. I'm currently doing something. I'm not going to drop everything and draw at a moment's notice because I have X, Y, Z I have to do. Or no, I'm not going to take a walk today, even though I promised myself, even though I feel like taking a walk and I'm unproductive because guess what? I have to get things done. Or in my case, yeah, I have an idea of what I want to say in my recording for my video, but, you know, I'm hungry. I have to go eat lunch, you know, so, but there will never be a right time, you know? We're all, like, we're always pushing things off to someday, tomorrow, later, but when you think about it, how many times have you actually done what you promised yourself you would do later? Or are you still pushing it off? We're constantly waiting for the right moment to start a YouTube channel, the right moment to change your diet, the right moment to change something in your life. But there'll never be a right moment. If you think about it, there's always something going on in your life that's stopping you from achieving, stopping you from just starting. But imagine what would happen if you stopped waiting for the perfect timing and you started today. You started right now on whatever you've been pushing off. Imagine you were successful in your attempt, right? Imagine you're successful in what you started. Now think later, 2 or 3 years down the road, or however long, right? And imagine you stayed consistent in whatever you were doing. Wouldn't you be so much farther than you were today? You would be thanking yourself that the you right now who's watching this video, you right now, not tomorrow you, not next week you, but this you right now. And that person, that you in the future will be thanking you with all your heart for not waiting for the perfect timing, for starting today. Now, let me give an example. So, before I started this YouTube channel, I prepared about a year in advance with just filming, creating videos, learning how, learning how YouTube works, and all that. After all the preparation was finally, I felt it was enough, I set the date for when I was going to post my newest video, my first video ever. Now, I had everything planned out as best as I could. The days I was posting worked with my schedule, so I had just enough time to prepare another video in between the times I was posting. So everything was good, right? It was perfect. But then life threw certain things my way, and the day that I planned to post, I couldn't post. And that kind of threw all my plan, my whole plan just haywire. I was thinking, you know what, why don't I just start posting next month? Not this month, later, I'll do it later, when things are a bit more smoother. But then after giving it some thought, I'm like, you know what? What do you gotta lose? Just post it and forget about it. Just start. It's all right. I'm just gonna wing it this time. And now, months later, I'm thanking my past self for just throwing myself into the ocean, essentially, just into the waves. It's all right. It's fine. There'll never be a perfect time. And I'm so glad that I just started, because months later, this channel is a growing community of awesome people, of special people and artists, and just we all inspire each other. And this would not be possible, though, if I didn't take the leap just several months ago when things weren't perfect. Now, what I'm trying to say is life goes too fast. Things are always moving. And if we keep waiting for things to work out, for things to go smoothly, for the perfect timing, the perfect moment, for luck, essentially, then those dreams you've had, these aspirations, the things you want to achieve, they're becoming less and less likely to happen. Now, of course there are risks. There will always be risks, right? But how can you expect to walk into a door? No, not walk into a door. How can you expect to walk into a room if you haven't even opened the door yet? Now, there are those times where it doesn't matter, you try again, and things just aren't falling into place how, they're just not working, And it's the most frustrating thing for you if it worked for you before, but life sort of threw things your way that you just suddenly, physically, and just mentally can't anymore. It's just not going. But things might not be at such a dead end as they seem to be. Ever since I started learning online, from my experience, you want to finish your courses at the end of semester when everyone else is finishing. Your learning online is obviously very different from learning in person, and it's more intense in a way that you're essentially teaching yourself. At least these are the type of courses that I took. So every year you try your best to finish at the end of when everyone else is finishing, right? And so you're working hard all year, even though essentially you have an entire 12 months to finish your courses, but you're working hard, and you come up with a system of how you're going to complete that amount of work in the amount of time that you want to finish, right? But when suddenly it stopped working recently, you kind of are like, what? Right? So your life changes, and certain things that you didn't really expect to happen or you weren't prepared for entirely, they just happen, and it's so unpredictable sometimes that you can't really calculate how you'll react, or just, you can't you can't like plan that, right? You can't even imagine that until you live through it. And you obviously get really upset at yourself, and you're like, you can't understand why things aren't working anymore, and you feel like you're just constantly struggling to live up to those deadlines and expectations and just the timeline that you created for yourself before. And so you're just at this point in your life where things are just, you can't, like, you can't do it, not like you used to. And I found that sometimes that is just a sign that you should, take a step back and take things into perspective and realize why, like, go to the root of the problem, and maybe you'll realize that all this time you just needed to change that system, right? And so basically I was really stressed out that I wouldn't finish my second semester in time, right? But then I realized why. What are you trying to finish? Isn't the whole idea that you're learning online is that you have control over when you learn? Like, why can't you learn a month extra, 2 month extra? Why can't you learn the whole summer? Like, things that I didn't really think or consider, I started considering, and I realized that, you start to realize that maybe things could change, and change is okay. That's a part of the process, right? And so when that mindset shift happened, it made a world of a difference. And one way to get to this mindset shift and get to that point is to not assume who you are. And by that I mean not put yourself in a box of this is who I am, and this is what I do, and this is how much I'm capable of. When you put yourself in that kind of box, there's no room for more growth, and you're limiting yourself, really. And truthfully, of course, you should of course have a foundation of who you are, but you can always build the house on top of it differently. There's so many new houses building in my area, and I find it so interesting how a lot of times they just take off the house, crash it down, and on the same foundation build a new one. And that's what you should do, that's the kind of thing I mean by changing yourself, just letting yourself grow and giving yourself that opportunity to maybe perhaps be something else or do something differently. That's gonna just build you up, and maybe it's time for a new house, you know what I mean? It's time to be a new you. And that's totally okay, right? And change is fine. It's change. And the fact that you're feeling uncomfortable in the first place, it just tells that you are growing, Change is this sort of thing, and growth, it's uncomfortable, right? You don't like it. Nobody does. Because you're used to a routine that you have. You're used to a sort of cycle, and you like what you're used to. But sometimes if you don't build yourself a cocoon, right? If a caterpillar doesn't build a cocoon for themselves because they're too scared to, they're never going to become a butterfly, So, are you an overthinker? Maybe you are, maybe you aren't, maybe you just found out that you are. Regardless though, reevaluating the importance of the things that you are worried about, enjoying the moment, taking action on all your dreams and aspirations today, even if it's not the perfect moment, and being open to growing and changing your routine as you grow is all really helpful in living your life and your moments of every day to the fullest.